is the QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, and I am Jul Denjai. Thank you for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. In tonight's AFCON action, Gambia's feint of hopes of progressing to the round of 16 were extinguished following an agonizing 3-2 loss to Cameroon in their final group game. Now, as part of efforts to ensure the targets of the National Employment Policy and Plan are achieved, the Ministry of Trade has launched the National Employment Technical Committee. Daughters of Africa Foundation, in collaboration with partners from the University of West of England, held a project presentation following the implementation of projects in Gambian communities. Now, on the sidelines of the U.S. Embassy Banjul Women's Leadership Empowerment and Networking Forum, women from different walks of life share experiences and solutions to issues affecting women. In international news, Cameroon has announced plans to routinely give children a new malaria vaccine, becoming the first country in Africa to do so as the shots are rolled out. These and other stories coming ahead in the next half an hour. Do stay tuned. Thank you very much. If you're joining us, this is QTV News with me, Jul Denjai. In tonight's AFCON action, Gambia's faint hopes of progressing to the round of 16 were extinguished following an agonizing 3-2 loss to Cameroon in their final group game. We will bring you that story later on in the news. Now, as part of efforts to ensure the targets of the National Employment Policy and Plan are achieved, the Ministry of Trade has launched the National Employment Target Technical Committee, NETC. Jenaba Sonko has the details.
Launched in November 2022, the National Employment Policy and Plan aims to create 150,000 jobs over a 5-year period. The National Employment Policy and Action Plan are meant to tackle unemployment and underemployment and to improve living standards in the country. The 2018 Labour Force Survey records the unemployment rate in the Gambia at 35.2%, with youth unemployment at 42.1%. The National Employment Technical Committee will contribute to coordinating efforts to achieve a range of set standards. The Minister of Trade and Regional Integration, Babukar Oju, officially launched the committee.
As we gather here today to inaugurate a committee whose main task is to generate and share ideas and experiences with the Minister and intended to agree solutions to the scary phenomenon of unemployment and underemployment, we send the right signals to those desperate youth risking their lives in search of jobs abroad and using illegal means at the same time. I implore you out there to remember that these phenomena are not strangers in sub-Saharan Africa, and the traditional economic policy approaches are not equipped enough to expel them out of the continent.
Former GCCI President and Ambassador of Global Entrepreneurship Network for the Gambia, Abdoulaye M. Toure, is the chairman of the committee. Chairman Toure calls on fellow committee members to avoid the traditional committee approach of merely convening and discussing issues without taking concrete action.
The overarching goals and expected outcomes include substantial employment creation, sustainable economic growth, socio-economic development, innovation and technology advancement, strengthening public-private partnerships, enhancing international competitiveness, and cultural and community development.
Part of the objectives of the Employment Policy and Plan is job creation, in accordance with the objective of stimulating the private sector as the engine of growth. This will be further strengthened through the committee.
Emphasis is also placed on training and capacity building for small-scale farmers, especially in organic farming processes. Banjul area, aquaculture, oyster culture, coconut farming, and bamboo plantations along the coastline to prevent coastal erosion. This strategy aims to develop sustainable aquaculture, promoting fish farming as a source of employment. Additionally, the cultivation and processing of coconut and bamboos for various uses are targeted as potential job creation avenues.
The committee will be key in improving economic sectors and fostering a skilled workforce. The NETC aims to enhance the Gambia's competitiveness on the international stage. This includes promoting exports, attracting foreign investment, and participating actively in regional economic initiatives. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Now back to the AFCON story. In tonight's AFCON action, Gambia's faint hopes of progressing to the round of 16 were extinguished following an agonizing 3-2 loss to Cameroon in their final group game. Adedrame has the details.
Before the team crashed out of the ongoing AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire this evening. 5-time AFCON winners Cameroon had to come from behind to score 2 late goals to reach the last 16 of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations by beating the Gambia and so knocking their opponents out of the competition. The Scorpions had threatened to extinguish Cameroon's hopes with a 91st minute goal before VAR intervened to rule it out for handball. Cameroon secured second place in Group C on goals scored after Senegal, the defending champions, finished top by beating Guinea 2-0. Cameroon will now face Nigeria at Abidjan's Félix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium on Saturday at 8 p.m. At the end of the match, Gambia's coach, Tom Samphier, gave a press conference at which he announced that he was resigning with immediate effect. Here is that press conference.
I'm very proud of my team. I think I can be one of the most proud coaches in the world of a team who bounced back. After such 2 difficult games, a difficult start, difficult preparation, and then today playing a great game. I think we deserve at least a point. We could have had the victory, but yeah, I'm very proud as a coach. I'm disappointed in the result, and I would like to announce also something. This was my last match as national team coach of the Gambia. I stepped down. I have still a contract till August 2026, but I stepped down as national team coach of the Gambia. I will be always Gambian. I love the Gambia. I worked with a fantastic FA president. I worked in several federations, but never had such a fantastic president in my federation. Fantastic board, team manager Usman Rame, the best in the world. Coaching staff, medical team, supporting staff, fantastic. The whole federation, amazing. I will be always the smiling coach of the Gambia.
And now Daughters of Africa Foundation, in collaboration with partners from the University of West of England, on Friday held a project presentation following the implementation of sustainable development projects in Gambian communities. Lena Igwe-Nyiba reports on the successful implementation of their work.
After their preparatory induction on January 7th, the University of the West of England UWE delegation and youth leaders of Daughters of Africa showcased their achievements in 5 distinct projects, namely ecotourism at Abuko Nature Reserve, a traditional dance project with Flex Fusion Dance Academy, beauty products, soaps, body cream for SOS students and Abuko women groups, environmental management project with the Gambia College and St. Peter's School, an education project with Faraba Banta Basic Cycle School, St. Peter's School and Mini Aya School at Abuko. Famara Fati, CEO of Daughters of Africa Foundation, highlighted the significance of these initiatives, emphasizing the positive impact on communities.
A lot of youths and the women folks have been impacted upon because projects are relevant and it will give them some fund of earning an income to be able to live their lives without having to depend on other people.
Mian Hang, University of the West of England lead the Gambia Dago project, and Sally Spruce, a lecturer at UWE, both expressed pride in contributing to the collaborative effort.
This project has gone further away from Gambia because the king of Bamasaba in Uganda has heard of our project, the Dago project, and he wants that to be replicated in Uganda. This shows the power and empowerment it has reached far beyond Gambia, and this is really humbling me.
I feel very proud to be a part of this. It's been an invaluable experience for me. I'm going to be taking a lot of the learning, my own learning back, and an invaluable experience for the students as well. I've never done anything like this before, and it's fantastic.
Sondin Kopiyo, a member of the Environmental Management Project, and Luke Richards with the Education Project, shared the successes of their projects.
So we've succeeded in training students from the Gambian Technical College, specifically students from the School of Agriculture, and then we've trained some students in the St. Peter's Junior and Secondary School as well on how to be able to estimate carbon and actually sell this carbon, which they've estimated in form of carbon credit, to companies, organizations that wants to look sustainable.
We left them equipment to continue practicing these sports. We left them the books that we taught them so they could continue sharing it with each other.
Anna Wainjai, a youth leader for DOAF and also with the Environmental Management Project, expressed gratitude for gaining invaluable knowledge to be shared within her community.
I'm not aware of the amount of carbon in the trees. So this environmental project actually taught me on how to estimate carbon in trees using the QGIS software. And right now I can confidently say that I can estimate the carbon of trees using the QGIS software. And I will also move the project forward after they have left. So we will also, the ones that have already done the project, that is the youth leaders, will also go and train others.
The DEGO project is a flagship initiative by DOAF and UWE, focusing on education and skills development in Africa. This collaborative approach actively engages local communities, aiming to establish a foundation for sustainability, improved employment prospects, creative entrepreneurship, education and business development. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
And still on AFCON matters, we are joined by former head coach of the Gambia, Alaji Silla, to give us the updates following the resignation of Gambia's coach Tom Sam Fates. Good evening, Mr. Silla.
Good evening.
What does this really mean for the Gambia after the resignation of the coach?
It's a normal practice. It's very, very normal. Coaches are hired to be fired, or coaches are hired for them to resign. When you don't meet your objectives, or maybe targets are set for you in your contract, you can easily resign. But life continues as a country. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Silla.
Yes, and the other point is, yes, we have so much respect for Tom. He has done extremely well for us. And of course, if we look at where we were and where we are now, I think we've done tremendously well. And so we have to thank him for that. But it cannot be a one-sided issue. If you consider that all of us were there as national coaches and we no more there, if you look at the resources that were put at his disposal and what was put at the disposal of other coaches, I think, we should compare resources spent and some other things. But all said and done, I think he has done very well. We respect him for that. And then I think we should wish him well. And we have to continue as a country. Because as of now, unbeknown to the federation, there are other coaches who are contacting other Gambians and want to come over to coach. So if he moves, we bring someone else to take over.
Because of the quick resignation and the decision made after the defeat to Cameroon, does this really come as a surprise to you, or was it really expected?
As a coach?
Yes.
No. As a coach, you expect anything. Coaches take decisions without consultation. They will take the decisions and they wouldn't consult anybody. Because what you avoid is when you take decision for people to convince you, and you've already taken a decision, and it will be disrespectful for you to resign as a coach, and then they tell you, please come back, you go back. You lose a lot, your respect, your integrity, everything is at stake. So once you take a decision, you don't have to tell anybody, so you have to move on.
So as far as his resignation is concerned, what is next for the GFF and also the national team?
Yeah, for the national team, we have to move on. You know, a lot of coaches have been around since the inception of football in this country, but we are still continuing. You cannot be there forever. And as a coach, right now, it's so professionalized that targets are set for you. They could give you 5 years contract, but in one of the clauses, they will tell you, the last time you stopped at quarterfinal, now you should at least go to quarterfinal. And then there must be an exit clause where he could say, yes, I didn't, the objective is not met, so I am resigning. Or if you don't meet the objective, the federation will ask you to go because we didn't hire you for us to take us back. We've already passed this stage long time ago.
So as the former head coach of the Gambia, what do you think is the way forward as far as reviving the Gambia football industry or Gambia's football is concerned?
Well, the reviving, I think the word is a bit strong. We just have to look at the technical report because you're supposed to submit a technical report. And then the federation is also have to do an evaluation. And even at the level of the ministry, there must be an evaluation. What happened? Did we get it right? Were resources put at the disposal of the federation at the time, etc., etc. Where, and also if there are a lot of things to be answered. And then apart from that, we move on. But it shouldn't take long for us to move on. We have potentials, we have good players, we have very young professionals, probably the youngest that we saw in the tournament. We also have senior players who are still in the team, who are still useful. So you just brand the new potential with experience, and then we move on as a country. There is no scandal or anything. It's okay. It's normal. This happens to every country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Silla, for those updates. We will now go for a short commercial. We will now go for a short commercial break. When we return, we have more local as well as international news stories for you. To stay tuned.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fix internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyapus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
For all your electronic cooking utensil needs, worry no more. Deka Killer Jongoma Kitchen is the solution. Deka Killer brings modern, efficient and affordable cooking materials such as gas cookers, heaters, coffee machines, fridges, ceiling and stand fans, among other valuable home and restaurant materials. Located at Serekunda Bambo opposite Sanchapa Garas, Deka Killer is making fun life easier by offering you guaranteed and cost-effective electronic cooking materials. You can contact us on 348-2307 or 728-5372. We are also on Facebook, Deka Killer The Gambia. Email dekakillergambia@gmail.com. Deka Killer Jongoma Kitchen is the solution for all your home appliances and electronic cooking utensil needs. Roast now, Deka Killer making fun life easier. Deka Killer, everything for cooking. Deka Killer is the right place to be.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is QTV News with me, Jules Denjai, and now to the rest of our stories. On the sidelines of the U.S. Embassy Banjul Women's Leadership Empowerment and Networking Forum, women from different walks of life share experiences and solutions to various issues affecting women. Jenaba Sonko reports.
Started as a women's club at the U.S. Embassy in Banjul, is now bringing together women from different sectors to bring about innovative solutions to change narratives. Women continue to face challenges ranging from educational inequality, access to equal job opportunities, limited women in leadership positions, amongst others. Fatoumata Njie, the National Assembly member for Banjul South, brought a members' bill to Parliament proposing an increase in the number of seats in the National Assembly from 58 to 71, reserving 16 seats for women. Out of these, 14 would be elected seats and 2 would be appointed by the President. The bill was defeated in Parliament. She delved into the plight of women in the political space.
I think no one in this room is unaware of the challenges that I've been through, from being expelled from my party to being victimized in my own parliament to being a victim of circumstances by the virtue that I wanted to represent my country at every stage possible. But thanks to my constituency, I was given another opportunity to represent them.
Trafficking in persons is one of the major economic challenges affecting women in the Gambia. The Gambia is in the Tier 2 watch list of trafficking in persons ranking. This means that the country has not fully met the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking in persons set forth in the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000, but is making significant efforts to do so. Here is Aissatou Dabo, the Executive Director of the Agency Against Trafficking in Persons.
In as much as leadership in a broader context is considered to be an individual in a position of power or authority, it is important that we realize that just by saying, no, I'm not going to be a part of this, is taking the lead. The young girls that are engaged in sexual exploitation for trafficking, at least in the Gambia, have been housed in properties that are owned by Gambians and in some instances women. What is stopping us from saying, no, not my property?
Sona Jabate, a world-renowned musician, is advocating a well-rounded education system for sustainable development.
The music I do can only survive so long as I'm alive. Education is what we leave behind. Those are the generations that go to flourish and go and do further than we ever could do. And that's the point of education, planting a seed that you want to see those fruits of in the future. That is why we do what we do. And at the Gambia Academy, which is a little bit far from here, out in Medina Salam, Khartoum, this is what I am dedicating my life to. Women and girls are, of course, a major part of that.
Although the event was a women's focused event, men were also invited as they have a critical role to play as perpetrators of sexual and gender-based violence. The U.S. Embassy Banjul expresses willingness to ensure the Empowerment and Networking Forum becomes a yearly event. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
And Janjanbureh is famous for many reasons, including its ties with Gambia's colonial past, the Kankurang Festival, and recently its bicentenary commemoration. To explore its historical significance, QTV's Lolly M. Camara engaged historian Hasum Sisi to shed light on the importance of some of the historical sites in the town. Here is a report.
Sometimes referred to as the island with three names, Janjanbureh, formerly Makati Island, formerly Georgetown, and Lehman Island, is one of the oldest towns in the Gambia. The town lies on the banks of the River Gambia, about 300 kilometers upstream from Banjul. It is said to be built on a grid system in colonial times, which is reflected in streets names, something which is missing from much of the rest of the Gambia. Every year, Janjanbureh hosts the Kankurang Festival, which attracts hundreds of people, including international visitors. This is the Kankurang Center, a preserved and learning center dedicated to the history of the Kankurang masquerade. Hasum Sisi, historian and Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture, NCAC, talks about the Kankurang and the need to preserve the festival.
Makati is agreeably the home of the Kankurang. Okay, the folklore, the literature agrees to that. So until 1984, the community organized this festival regularly. In 2005, the Gambia acceded to the UNESCO Convention on the Protection of Intangible Cultural Heritage, also known as the 2003 Convention. In 2008, the Gambia worked with Senegal to have the Kankoran listed as one of the intangible cultural heritage masterpieces of humanity.
At the famous Tinyansita, a Mandinka word meaning relaxation under the baobab tree during the day, is a place in the town where initiation ceremonies used to take place. It also has one of the oldest Methodist churches in sub-Saharan Africa. Mr. Cisse elaborates.
It dates back to 1835 when a Methodist pastor, Reverend Father Morgan, established a church to cater for the religious needs of the Christian community on the island.
At the wharf, Mr. Cisse highlighted the economic role McCarthy Island played in the exportation of groundnuts.
In fact, according to the archives, there was a year in 1923, 100 years ago, 30,000 tons of groundnuts were evacuated from this port area. 30,000 tons of groundnuts were evacuated from this port.
We also visited the first street light pole erected in the Gambia in Janjambure, dating back some 100 years. The old government house, the cannon, and the freedom tree that was replanted by the natives many years ago. As residents celebrate the 200 years of the town's existence, they are hopeful that, given the town's national and international significance, the government, through the Ministry of Tourism and Culture and the National Center for Arts and Culture, with the help of the private sector, will upgrade the historical sites in Janjambure. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
And that story by Lolly M. Kamara takes us to News Beyond Our Borders. Now, Cameroon has announced plans to routinely give children a new malaria vaccine, becoming the first country in Africa to do so as the shots are rolled out. This comes barely a week after the WHO declared the West African country of Cape Verde malaria-free. Let's have more details of that in this report.
With Cape Verde now joining Mauritius and Algeria as malaria-free countries, Cameroon is launching this campaign as part of efforts to curb the mosquito spread disease on the continent, which accounts for 95% of the world's malaria deaths. Cameroon hopes to vaccinate about 250,000 children in the next 2 years and is already engaging 20 other countries on the continent to help them get the vaccine. Those countries will hopefully immunize more than 6 million children through 2025. Aurelia Nguyen, Chief Program Officer at the Gavi Vaccines Alliance, which is helping Cameroon secure the vaccines, says the vaccination will save lives. It will provide major relief to families and the country's health system. Despite acknowledging that the vaccine is imperfect, the World Health Organization endorsed it 2 years ago, stressing that its use will still dramatically reduce severe infections and hospitalization, thereby paving the way for Cameroon to use the first of 2 recently approved malaria vaccines known as Mosquirex. The vaccine produced by GlaxoSmithKline is only 30% effective, requires 4 doses, and the protection begins to fade after several months. It was tested in Africa and used in pilot programs in 3 other countries besides Cameroon. Meanwhile, GSK has said it can only produce about 15 million doses of Mosquirex a year. However, experts believe a second malaria vaccine developed by the University of Oxford, which is cheaper and was approved by WHO in October, might be a more practical solution. Unlike Mosquirex, it only requires 3 doses. India's Serum Institute has revealed that it could make up to 200 million doses a year. Meanwhile, experts also revealed that neither of the malaria vaccines stop transmission. This means that other essentials like bed nets and insecticidal spraying will still be critical. The malaria parasite mostly spreads to people via infected mosquitoes and can cause symptoms including fever, headaches, and chills. There are about 250 million cases of the parasitic disease each year in Africa, including 600,000 deaths, mostly young children. Ansmane Sonyasi for KTV News.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we got time for. Do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company, and do have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.